Chapter 13. Three Brothers. Once there were three brothers named Peter, Sam and George. They lived in a cottage by the woods. They were honest and hard-working boys. Every day, they would venture into the forest to get wood and sell it in the market to earn their livelihood. However, the brothers were always sad. Even though they lived a very good life, they were unhappy. One day, Peter, Sam and George were returning home from the wood carrying their bundle of logs. On the way, they saw an old woman bent low with a sack on her back. As they were kind and compassionate, three brothers immediately approached the poor woman and offered to carry the sack all the way to her home. She smiled and expressed her gratefulness towards them. She told them that the sack contained apples which she had collected from the forest. Peter, Sam and George took turns in carrying the sack. Finally, they reached the old woman's home. They put the sack in the old woman's house. They were very tired. The old woman was not ordinary person as she had magical powers. Pleased with the three brothers' kind and selfless nature, she asked them whether there was anything she could help them with as a reward. "We are not happy, and that has become our greatest cause of concern," replied Peter. The woman asked what would make them happy. Each brother spoke of a different thing that would please him. "A splendid mansion with many of servants would make me happy." "There is nothing more that I would want," said Peter. "A big farm with lots of harvest would make me happy." "Then I could be rich without having to worry," said Sam. "A beautiful wife would make me happy." "Every day, after returning home, her sweet little face would light me up and make me forget my sorrows," said George. "That is fine," said the old woman. "Go home and each of you will find exactly what you have wished for." This took the brothers by surprise as they did not know about the woman's powers. Nevertheless, they took leave and returned home. But to behold, beside their cottage, there was a huge mansion with a doorman and other servants waiting outside. They greeted Peter and ushered him in. At some distance, a yellow farmland showed itself. A plowman came and announced that it belonged to Sam. Sam gasped. Just at that moment, a beautiful maiden approached George and coyly said that she is his wife. The brothers were beside themselves with joy at this new turn of events. They thanked their lucky stars and adapted to their new lifestyles. The days passed and soon a year was over. The situation was, however, now different for Peter, Sam and George. Peter had grown tired of owning the mansion. He became lazy and did not supervise his servants. So, the servants did not take proper care of the mansion. Sam, who had built a decent house next to his farmland, found it burdensome to plow the fields and sow seeds on time. George, too, grew used to his beautiful wife and no longer found any joy in keeping her company. In short, all of them were unhappy again. So the three brothers decided to visit the old woman at her home. That woman has magical powers which turned our dreams into reality. It is she who will be able to tell us the secret to attain happiness again, said Peter. When they came to the old woman, she was cooking stew in a pot. Greeting her, each of the brothers recounted how he had turned unhappy again. "Please tell us how we can once more be happy," said Sam. "Well," replied the old woman, "it is all in your own hands. See, when each of you made your wish and it was granted, you were happy. However, happiness never lasts without a very important thing: content. Earlier, since you were happy but never really contented or satisfied, boredom and misery overcame you and you became sad again. Only if you learn to be contented, you can truly enjoy the bliss of happiness. Peter, Sam and George realized their mistake and went back home. They saw how lucky they were to have the gifts for which they had once craved. Peter felt grateful for being the owner of a mansion and began taking good care of it. Sam began to plow his land diligently so as to have a good harvest in time. George, too, learned to appreciate his pretty wife's chores in the house. Remembering that happiness and content went side by side, never again did the three brothers take their blessings for granted. And they lived happily ever after.